even drought. And the AMA National Motocross Series is at the midway point, and those two themes converge here at Red Bud Track and Trail, Buchanan, Michigan. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain, along with David Bailey, the AMA National Motocross and Supercross champion 6 times in his remarkable career. Let me ask you, first of all, about this Mike versus Mike battle. It's the headline story in this series. Kedrowski and LaRocco, Team Kawasaki, swapping wins week in and week out. Eventually, this has got to play out some way.
Well, definitely. I mean, the riders are both so much faster than everyone else in the field that if one gets a bad start, he's still able to come up and finish second behind the other. So what's happening is it's just pretty much like a sudden death. You know, they're taking free throws, and the first guy that misses is going to hand the title to the other.
And we'll find out if one of them will miss here today on a racetrack that, despite the drought, is pretty sloppy. Tell me about that.
Well, they usually water the track a lot. It gets very dry. Of course, it's been dry, and they want to make sure they get enough water on the track. What happens is if they don't water enough and it gets dusty between motos and they water it, then it gets very slippery because it's hard packed. The berms fill with water and the riders don't like it.
And, of course, between the sections of mud here, we have what Red Bud is known for, and that's some incredible jumps, doubles and triples.
Well, it's overgone a major facelift since I've seen it. There's a lot of extra jumps, some new sections, and a couple of huge triple jumps and double jumps, and it's surprising to me to see that the amount of talent that's able to get over these things.
Well, let's take a look at how this place lays out. We'll check the track map and see the challenge that awaits these guys.
You can sum this place up in one word: jumps. The crowd loves the jumps. The riders love the jumps. You can't go wrong. These guys are flying high today.
The biggest jump of all got mixed reviews.
More of an uphill triple. I mean, it's a double for the 125s and could be a triple for us. I mean, I don't see it as a big great advantage. You're in the air so long. I mean, yeah, we're doing it, but it's nothing that's outstanding. So it's more important to be consistent and not, you know, do a big flying W over that triple. And it's great for the crowd.
The triple up jump in the back is kind of, if you go the outside, you know, you can gas it, you can get enough speed to triple it. You go the inside, I don't know if you'd be able to get enough speed, so you'd probably have to double it. But, you know, it's going to probably be close racing. If you're racing with somebody for the lead and stuff, you're going to have to pick your options, you know, maybe inside just to change lines, be on a different line than him, in case he messes up and can't triple it, then you can have the inside, and then you got an advantage there.
Mechanics trying to keep the riders cool in anticipation of the high-flying action about to get underway. We'll be back with the start of the first moto in a moment. Advantage is an issue. Mike LaRocco, the point leader, lives just across the border in Indiana. And, of course, a Michigan racetrack. Everybody thinks of Jeff Stanton, the 3-time national champion. For more, let's go to the third member of the telecast team, Art Ekman.
Red Bud loves Mike LaRocco. Welcome home, Jeff Stanton, it says on the side of the barn as you drive in. It is true that Mike LaRocco lives but 9 miles down the road from this wonderful facility, and this can be considered Jeff Stanton's home turf as well. But just because the current points champion and the former national champion live nearby doesn't mean they have a home track advantage here.
You can have a home court advantage in any track as long as you feel comfortable on that track. And, you know, if you wake up one day and you go out and practice and everything feels comfortable, hey, this is your home track. It doesn't necessarily have to be here at Red Bud. You know, it could be at Troy, Ohio, or, you know, Southwark, Massachusetts. So there is a home court advantage, but you can have it anywhere. It's more mental.
And you sleep in your own bed, and when you come here, everybody's around from the area, and they cheer you on. So you have a lot more people pulling for you, and, you know, it's close, and, you know, everything's just easier.
You know, when you're at home, you have people around you that you know and everything like that. And when you're, you know, on the road somewhere where you've been before, but, you know, there's no family around, there's a lot of people that you don't know, so you're kind of unfamiliar with people and things around you. So I think, you know, at home, you know, it can be an advantage or it can be a disadvantage. It depends on how you approach a race.
I'm not sure we can draw any profound conclusions about home track advantage. Are you a believer in it, David?
Well, it worked for me in 1986 in my hometown, and you know, if you look at home court advantage in NBA basketball, these guys almost always win their home games, and should matter in motocross.
Comes down to mental attitude. Look at the point standings. Mike LaRocco continuing to lead Mike Kedrowski by an 11-point advantage. Jeremy McGrath there in 4th place, the man on the move. Strong performances lately have moved him up to challenge John Dowd, who's still 3rd. We're just about set for the drop of the gate. Start of the first of 2 motos here at Red Bud Track and Trail. The gate is down, and the field come charging through the slop and the mud to turn number 1. And it looks like a whole shot for Yamaha-mounted Michael Craig. Number 19 jumps out front. Number 1, Mike Kudrowski, the national champion, close behind. And Mike LaRocco, number 7, also has a good start. Uncharacteristically good starts for the green team.
Well, they've been long enough without good starts. They should be able to learn how to do it by now. They've each gotten whole shots in the last couple of weeks and starting to feel comfortable up there, looks like.
Michael Craig has demonstrated his ability to lead this year. He has not yet demonstrated his ability to win on the outdoor trail. He picked up his first Supercross victory of the season earlier in the campaign, and now up to second spot goes number 31, Larry Brooks. A strong performance by the No-Lean Sizzler Yamaha. This is still considered a privateer effort, but it's a bit of a bucks-up privateer effort and represents a new trend perhaps in motocross. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Right now we watch Michael Craig. This is the full factory bike. This is the guy who got the Damon Bradshaw ride, and with it an awful lot of pressure.
Oh, you bet. He's had a lot of injuries to contend with this year and a lot of pressure, but he's handling pretty good this year. Just, and like you said, he hasn't been able to take it all the way home. Here he's got a great opportunity with a privateer possibly to hold up the 2 Kawasaki's behind him right now.
Craig hoping Brooks will serve as a block right now. Well, Mike Kudrowski doesn't appear to be making any sort of a major assault on Larry Brooks. Larry's running plenty fast enough to hold on to that spot. And behind him, Mike LaRocco sits in 4th and content to just kind of let this thing shake out a little bit during the early running. Now Kudrowski comes up, perhaps to put on a little pressure. How important is it for Kudrowski and LaRocco to get around those 2 Yamahas at this point?
Well, they want to get around him. You can see that Kudrowski was just staying off the line a little bit of Larry Brooks. You know, the roost that you see again kicked up from the riders in front of you, the rocks, I mean, that stuff hurts. You can see he's choosing different lines there. Already Craig is starting to pull away, so that's, I think, the urgency that he sees.
Here comes the pressure from Kudrowski as he goes working on Larry Brooks. There's that big jump in the back, and already we see the signs of dust. The result of this Michigan heat wave. It is hot, brutally hot up here today. These guys are going to earn their money. While we talk about this No-Lean Sizzler team, they have come in with a substantial amount of support for number 31, Larry Brooks, his teammate Larry Ward, and it has certainly changed the face of this team. Larry compares it to stock car racing and says he thinks it might be the motocross wave of the future.
Oh, the big outside sponsor that comes in, you know, the team will have a lot more money. With the No-Lean Sizzler team, the more money came in, the bigger truck came, the tents, the bigger team, the better riders, and, you know, spectators start really appreciating it and treating us like the factory team. They did it with NASCAR with the outside sponsors, and I think it's coming into motocross now. Yeah, the No-Lean bikes are definitely one of the superior bikes that there are in the circuit right now. They can get off the starting gate first. They can run out in the lead. They have everything that a factory bike would have. I don't think our bikes are any different than any other factory bikes.
And you saw the factory bike of Mike Kudrowski making a little bit of a mistake back there behind Brooks, and that enables Larry to consolidate his hold for the moment on second spot. Again, no move from LaRocco as yet. He seems content to let this thing shake out. The 2 Yamahas having their best run of the season so far up front.
Well, they look good. You can see a big difference in lines right here because of the amount of water they put on the track. I mean, you either go through the mud or you can go way around the outside and stay in the dry stuff. Just, you know, personal preference.
Looks like Kudrowski was headed back to the pit area there. He went straight as everybody else turned, but actually he was just running up to take the wide line. You make a bigger racetrack, you make a faster racetrack, and suddenly he is right there to challenge Larry Brooks. And again, if he can get around Brooks, then that puts Brooks between him and Mike LaRocco, and LaRocco's really the guy Kudrowski's racing here.
Yeah, you bet. That's what he needs. If he could put Brooks and Mike Craig between them, boy, that's going to help him get some points.
Big mistake there by Larry Brooks. He just about bailed off the thing, and here comes Kudrowski to make the pass. He took advantage of what was a fairly minor bobble, actually, but it was enough to let Kudrowski get alongside. And now suddenly Brooks appears to be right out there on the razor edge of control.
Well, he can maybe figure out what it was that Kudrowski was doing to stay so close to him, pick up on a few of his lines, and hopefully try to hold LaRocco off.
LaRocco will be next to challenge. You see part of this big Michigan crowd gathered here at Red Bud Track and Trail as Kudrowski second in the point standings, moves into second on the racetrack. And I would think that LaRocco is going to want to close in and attack Brooks immediately before Kedrowski has an opportunity to get away. But, ooh, here's a bobble by LaRocco. Pretty hard to attack from that far behind. Obviously, he didn't need that mistake.
Well, he's trying to take different lines than in another mistake right there.
Yeah.
See, it's very ruddy, and that's because of the amount of water. And here's the problem with Brian Swink. He's trying to get the bike shut off. Looks like he's trying to hit the kill switch.
Swink's on the ground. That engine is still running hard. He's trying to get the thing killed somehow. You can see now as he tries to pick it up, the bike's trying to jump out from under him. Boy, that is a frustrating moment. Look at that. The thing takes off. Swink can't get the throttle. Apparently the throttle is jammed open, and he can't get the kill switch to kill it. So I guess he's trying to pull the spark plug wire off. You get bit that way.
Oh, you see him shaking his hand. He just got bit, but he got it shut off.
Not much fun. That's about the worst thing that can happen when you fall down, is have that throttle stuck open. Not only are you concerned about hurting the motor, but you can't pick the thing back up. You can't do anything. You're helpless if the kill switch won't work.
It becomes a lethal weapon. Now Stanton's up into the picture. He's starting to put pressure on Mike LaRocco.
First time we've seen Jeff in the top 5 here. He is 5th on the racetrack because the leader, Michael Craig, is just getting away, and I think this is pretty much the way you called it. I think Brooks may be holding up LaRocco just a little bit. That has enabled Stanton to close. Here's the challenge from LaRocco. Tries a different line. Can he make the pass? Brooks will have more momentum, but he can't get back around, and so Mike LaRocco moves into second spot. Now, will Stanton be able to come up and take advantage of Brooks as well? Larry makes a little mistake as he jumps out of frame there. And when you make one mistake, that allows Stanton to come right up alongside and make the pass. Brooks just got himself way out of shape for that whole sequence, didn't he?
Well, he chose the wrong line way back a couple of corners where LaRocco was able to take the inside. Then he tried the inside again. He couldn't do any of those doubles, and Stanton went right by him.
Jeff Stanton up to 4th. The Kawasaki guys run 2nd and 3rd, and that is your battle for the national championship. In the midst of all this, Michael Craig has been able to set sail and open up a big lead. Now the question is whether Mike Kedrowski or Mike LaRocco can run him down. We'll be back to find out. AMA Motocross on Speed World, Redbud Track and Trail, Malcolm Smith Racing, the big sponsor for this event, and also the big sponsor for the hometown favorite here. Mike LaRocco, number 7's got a all-new Malcolm Smith outfit today, all decked out in stars and stripes, and hoping it'll carry him to victory here. But for the moment, he's got his hands full not only with Kedrowski, but both these guys are trailing Michael Craig, and Michael's doing a good job today.
He sure is. You know, I mean, what's going to really tell the story is when they get around the 20-minute mark, and that seems to be where they finally put enough pressure on him and he can't hold on any longer.
Here comes LaRocco trying that inside line. We've seen passes there thus far. He couldn't get far enough alongside Kedrowski to make it work, but he definitely let Mike Kedrowski know that he is there. This is the battle for the championship, and Kedrowski trails by 11 points in that battle. As they swap first and second place finishes, the pattern the last couple of weeks has been that Kedrowski has not been able to pick up very many points. It's very, very difficult to come from behind in this series. And what Kedrowski needs more than anything right now is to win this race and keep Michael Craig between himself and Mike LaRocco. But I think that'll be tough to accomplish.
Well, yeah, I think so too. But you know, what really I'm starting to notice is that all during the season, LaRocco seemed to have the most speed. And in the last couple of rounds, Mike Kedrowski's really wicked it up and has taken that away, I think. I think Mike Kedrowski's the fastest guy on the racetrack right now.
Well, let's check in with Art Ekman in the leaders' pit area.
Mechanic Brian Lennis reminding his rider, Michael Craig, to keep looking ahead. This track obviously agreeing with him.
Well, it's a little bit loamier, and Mike's, you know, he got the start right away, and I think he feels a lot better about himself today, and he's really charging hard at the beginning of the race.
1 and 7 really consumed with a battle amongst themselves. If Mike doesn't make a mistake, he's got a good shot.
Oh, yeah. It'll be, someone was saying on the radio, a Mike show.
Well, that's just what we have. 3 Mikes on fast bikes run 1, 2, 3 here at Redbud Track and Trail with the thousands of fans cheering them on. Michael Craig, the leader. Mike Kedrowski second. Mike LaRocco third. And the gap from first to second is noticeably shrinking.
It's definitely closing, and this is where the real challenge comes in for Craig. Can he continue to make good decisions and pick good lines? Because if he does, it's going to make the job for Mike Kedrowski a lot tougher.
This is really the kind of racetrack on which you might expect Michael Craig to do well.
Well, you know, Craig's always been a fantastic jumper. I mean, there's a place in California where all the riders go in the off-season to hit jumps and climb cliffs, and they all sit and watch in awe as Craig is the one that sort of innovates everything.
And he's not a teenager either. He's 25 years old. He's been around the game a long time, gained a lot of experience, paid a lot of dues before Yamaha gave him the call and said, hey, we need somebody to replace Damon Bradshaw, and you're it. He's had an up and down season in terms of Supercross, and right now it's more down than up because Mike Kudrowski is all over Michael Craig. But there's that jumping style you see. He clears the triple, and Kudrowski settles for the double.
Well, that looks neat. Those guys that's probably about 80, 90 feet up the top of that hill. I know the fans are getting a big kick out of it.
Good for probably 20 or 30 feet in net result in terms of lead. For Craig to be able to make that jump and Kudrowski to come up short, it takes the pressure off for a moment. We'll see if Craig can hang on. Track and Trail AMA National Motocross action from Buchanan, Michigan, and this is the battle. The two factory teams are hard at it. Whoa, Kudrowski dives back under Michael Craig. Did he do that on purpose?
I think that was a little bit of an accident. He almost had the front end wash out from underneath him. The one thing Mike's definitely feeling is the pressure, not only from Kudrowski, but from LaRocco, too.
All right, Craig is the leader. Kudrowski managed to keep the handlebar out of the dirt. Looked like he might go on his face. Meanwhile, as Craig and Kudrowski scramble for the lead, Mike LaRocco is sitting back there waiting to capitalize on this and perhaps consolidate his lead for the championship. Again, you see all the parked cars, the big crowd. This is one of the best attended stops on the tour. People like this racetrack.
Oh, they come from all over the place. It's a pretty good location for all the colleges, and I mean, there's always been a lot of people. Every time I race, there's tons of them.
Same pattern on that big jump. You see that Michael Craig made a triple of it while the Kawasaki guys settled for the double. But now Craig will take a different line. Oh, and not a very good line either. Kudrowski goes by, LaRocco goes by, and in a heartbeat, Craig slips from first to third.
Yeah, you know, that was just really, I don't understand why he took the outside there. I mean, you want the inside most of the time. You're going to protect your lead and make those guys have to ride around you. And he opened it right up for him. That wasn't very smart.
Boy, once the first guy went through, there was no hesitation. That sort of kicked the door open. Here's another look at it. He's way off the line.
Way high. And see, now, I mean, he didn't even really ride aggressively to get back in there. LaRocco comes underneath him, too. I mean, yeah, you know, he's probably figuring that no one else has been able to stop this freight train. And how the heck am I supposed to?
Well, that could be. Perhaps he saw the inevitable coming. Heard those footsteps. Larry Brooks is now in fifth spot, and he's got pressure from Jeremy McGrath. McGrath did not get a good start at all today, and on this kind of one-line racetrack, he's got some trouble moving through the traffic.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, you know, they water the track quite a bit, and what happens is right there you see there's a lot of mud and kind of soft stuff in the middle between those guys, and there's only really one fastest line, and if there's somebody in front of you going a little slower in it, then it just messes you all up.
Cliff Palmer is on the ground. A little bit of a bobble. A miscue has dropped the KTM to the dirt, and you see the plastic strip trailing behind him. He's going to have some vision problems.
Well, that's another thing that goes along with getting a bad start on a track that's been watered a lot like this. You go from dry to mud, and probably being further back in the pack, he had to get do anything he could to get some vision, and he tore that strip in half. He's not going to be able to see the rest of the race.
This is the best battle out there right at the moment. Number 31, Larry Brooks. That is the Nolene Sizzler Yamaha. Then comes the number 2 factory Honda of Jeremy McGrath. And just behind them, number 11, Larry Ward on the other Nolene's team entry. McGrath wants that spot. An aggressive move to the outside. Outbraked him a little bit and quickly gets by and opens up the gap. I think Brooks was clearly holding him up.
Well, I think so, too. I mean, Brooks is riding a really good race, but he's no match for Jeremy McGrath. McGrath obviously running a faster pace, and with this kind of pace, we'll have to see if he can catch up to Craig and possibly even up to the Kawasaki guy.
So Jeremy McGrath going forward to the delight, I'm sure. Ooh, good battle there between the Nolene's teammates. This is all to the delight of Skip Norfolk. Here's Art Ekman.
Skip, difficult start, but now he's trying to get into that point scene.
Yeah, it seems a little tough out there for the guys. They get caught, and you try to do some things, and it seems actually go slower, and you finally get around them, and you run up on the next group. Again, you know, Mike and Mike are out there hammering on us, and you're going to have to start with them if you want to even have a chance to run with them, and we didn't, so we're just trying to get some points.
Skip makes a good point there. The start is so critical. Even in a long race like this, sometimes you're stuck with just playing the hand that you're dealt.
Right. I mean, you're constantly on the defensive. The guys they're so far out of sight. It's really hard to stay motivated to try to catch them. And what's going to happen right here, I think, Larocco is, I think, going to be content to stay behind Kedrowski right here. You know, he doesn't seem to be faster anywhere on the track, but if he studies his lines and finds a couple of weaknesses and goes for it in the last couple laps, he could probably put on a pass.
And Michael Craig has not just faded into oblivion either. Now you see that Kedrowski's able to make that triple when he doesn't have traffic in front of him, and that gives him an opportunity to open up a little bit of an advantage over the second place bike of Larocco. We'll be right back with more from Red Bud. Down, we're back at the Malcolm Smith Racing sponsored Red Bud Track and Trail National, and we are watching the national champion providing a clinic here for the moment as Mike Kedrowski moved up and took the lead from Michael Craig, the early front runner. Kedrowski now trying to break away and leave his teammate Mike Larocco behind. Larocco for the moment seems to be cooperating.
Well, you know what happens is it's very difficult, like we've mentioned already, to pass. And if you stay close enough, you're just getting roosted, and it's hard to decide whether you should stay close enough and get roosted like that when you don't feel like you have a real good chance to pass, or to stay back just enough, study everything you can, and go for the kill in the last couple laps.
And so for the moment, Larocco seems to be choosing the more conservative approach. Meanwhile, here is the battle for 6th and 7th. Number 31, Larry Brooks. Number 11, Larry Ward. If your name's Mike, you're running the top 3. If your name is Larry, you're stuck in this. And sandwiched in between, we have the factory Honda team. Jeremy McGrath is currently 5th behind his teammate, Jeff Stanton. And that's the first time in a long time that Stanton has beaten McGrath in anything. So we watch Brooks try to hold off Ward. And this is a pretty interesting battle as well. Anytime teammates get together, you wonder how aggressive they're going to attack each other.
Yeah, well, you want to try to make a pass, you know, and be the top dog on the team, but you also want to try to keep it clean. And on this race,
Brooks over the handlebars. A huge tumble for Larry Brooks. Looked like the rear wheel just kicked up over a jump. Can't find his motorcycle. He got his bell rung pretty well. I wonder if Larry maybe ought to just go find a cool place to sit in the shade for a few minutes. Here's another look.
Well, he must have just hit a braking bump in there or something. That definitely caught me by surprise. I didn't think there was a bump that big there.
Man, he hit his head, and then the bike hit him in the head, and Larry Brooks is a bit dazed by it all. Now having trouble getting things back. He wants to get back out there. That's the natural racer instinct. He wants to get back on the bike, and now here comes a helpful spectator over to save the day, to enable Larry Brooks to get back into the race. Here, I'll pick it up for you. Again, if you're not strong enough to pick up the motorcycle, I'm not sure you ought to be going back out there.
No, maybe Larry ought to just give that spectator his helmet. You know, the guy has more enthusiasm right now.
Well, that handed the position to Larry Ward as Brooks took an unbelievable tumble. Ward moves up into 6th place, this behind the 2 Honda teammates, Stanton and McGrath, who run 4th and 5th. The mics are all up front here. As the laps wind down, we're on the white flag lap. Now, if Larocco was planning to make a move, we're going to see it now. He's had lots of opportunity to study Mike Kedrowski, and he's closing in a little bit.
Yeah, he has. Well, he's got nothing to lose. They got a pretty big gap on 3rd place, and if he tries to make a move and falls over, it looks like he can still get up and get 2nd. He's closed the gap, definitely. He wants it.
This position-swapping battle for the championship. Larocco is the guy with the 11-point pad. He's the guy who could afford, perhaps, to surrender a 3-point differential here to Kedrowski. Let Kedrowski win the first moto, try to come back and eat it up in the second. But, you know, Mike Larocco's a charger. He's not the kind to lay back. If there's a pass to be made, he'll get up there and go after it. All season long, they've talked about the fact that as teammates, they get along pretty well over in the truck. They don't take any chances. They try not to knock one another off. But the fact remains, the guy with the #1 plate gets the big bonus.
Right, and that bonus is probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000. There's no bonus for 2nd place, and they're a whole lot less money. So these guys are going for it. Their teammates are not.
$250,000. That's some serious money. That is on the mind of the 2 bikes, Mike Kedrowski and Mike Larocco, as the first moto winds down. Larocco with the 11-point pad can afford to be a little conservative. The lap rider moves over, gives him plenty of room to race it up between themselves. And if the hometown favorite, Mike LaRocco, has designs on passing Kedrowski, he's going to need to be closer than he is right now. Perhaps he's got a spot all picked out. He continues to ride his own line, and oh, here he comes. He's up alongside. Oh, and they make contact, and Kedrowski goes down. Mike Kedrowski crashes. Mike LaRocco takes the lead. Unbelievable. Did you get the sense that LaRocco had that spot picked out?
Well, you could see as he headed up the hill right here, boy, he's definitely going to the inside. He's committed. That wasn't real dirty, I don't think. I mean, he just touched him. I think it really caught Kedrowski more by surprise than anything else.
He took the right side handlebar out from under Kedrowski. That's what dropped him on the ground. So LaRocco is out front all alone. Kedrowski should be able to pick it up and continue in second spot, but you can bet there will be fireworks when this one is over. The local boy takes the checkered flag. He lives just across the Indiana border, and Kedrowski right behind him. Oh, and Kedrowski flicks his motorcycle at LaRocco after they cross the finish line. Ooh, you can bet the tempers are flaring now. The Team Kawasaki guys and the AMA officials jump in between them. I've never seen that before. Kedrowski just stepped off the bike and launched it in LaRocco's direction. It, in fact, hit him. LaRocco wins the first moto from Kedrowski. Stanton, Craig, and McGrath round out the top 5. Here's the rest of the top 10. Let's go to Art Ekman, our war correspondent.
Mike, your side of the story on a tremendously competitive race. I know he was just waiting for a mistake to be made, but what actually happened from your point of view?
Well, I wasn't making no mistakes the whole race, you know, and we were, you know, I knew he was right behind me, and I'd pull a little on him. Then he'd gain back up, and then the last turn, you know, he just came up from behind me and just hit my back end right when I was in the turn and made me just flip right over the bars practically, and then he rode right on the inside of me and took off. And, you know, I mean, we're both teammates and everything, and I try to pass him clean, and if he's going to do that every time we race, then, you know, I'm going to do it right back, but I'll do it on the track.
An adjustment in the second, you really don't need it, really, because your bike was running great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was superb. My Kawasaki was running great, and, you know, I don't think I'm going to change nothing for the second moto.
Here's another look at how the controversy started. LaRocco was definitely committed to that inside pass.
Well, it looks like he did push Kedrowski pretty hard out into that other berm, but you know what? That didn't look that bad. I mean, I've been railed. It always feels a lot worse when you're the guy that's it's happening to.
For an update on the controversy in the pits, let's go back to Art Ekman.
The sanctioning body, the AMA, won't make a decision until they see our tape recordings of the actual incident with LaRocco and Kedrowski out on the track. But Roy Jansen was telling me that what he saw with the naked eye was definitely more than aggressive racing, and possible fines might be levied at that time. But of course, retaliation is always wrong. Kedrowski his release of emotion will definitely cost him a few bucks. And now Roy Turner's job as crew chief and team manager, he's got to get these two guys ready to go for Moto number 2 somehow.
A controversy rules at the Red Bud Track and Trail. We'll be back. Your first moto is over. Here's Art Ekman with Roy Turner in the interview he definitely doesn't want to do.
Roy, what went on then after the two riders came back to the truck, and what do you as a team manager have to do to get this team back together morale-wise before the second moto?
I don't know if there's anything you can do for morale. Both guys want to win real bad, and, you know, it's just a heated battle. It's, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate that it's between our two guys, but, you know, you just talk to them, let them know they can't do stuff like that. They've got to race clean with each other. There's penalties that'll come from the sanctioning organization if they keep up that kind of action. They've already talked to them, and they realize that they can't do that. It's tough. You know, the guys both want to win. It's a championship. There's a lot of prestige, a lot of money involved, and, you know, all you can do is just try to settle them down a little bit and get them back thinking square and racing clean, and just try to, you know, that's about all you can do.
Have they shook hands, or is it going to take more time?
Well, they're talking to each other. I guess that's a good sign. I don't know if they've shaken hands or not, but, you know, they'll go out and they're going to race hard against each other again. And, you know, I don't know what you can do. I mean, the bottom line is they both want to win.
Well, actually, the bottom line is they'll both pay a fine, Roy. The AMA has elected to take action against both riders. We'll get to that in a moment. Right now, we're ready to get down to the start of the second moto, and let's see if the fireworks will continue. The gate is down. The field is away. The charge to turn 1 is on, and we've got trouble. Rider down in the starting area, and now Jeremy McGrath is off in the first turn. McGrath bailing off in a separate incident. A terrible day for Jeremy in terms of starts up front. Number 1, Kedrowski. Number 7, LaRocco. Swooped by the local boy Todd DeHoop, and another Michigander, number 10, Brian Swink, elbows inside LaRocco and shoves him back to 4th spot. Terrific action up front as Kedrowski gets the jump on him. And David Bailey, it's been a bad day for Jeremy McGrath in terms of starts.
Horrible. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do to get back into the battle here, and with the title pretty much out of his reach, he didn't really hurry to get up, I don't think, Dave.
His last couple of races have been very good. Today in Michigan has been very bad. And the heat and humidity, it has not gone Jeremy's way. So, up front, the moves being put on here by number 10, Brian Swink. He's another Michigan boy who now lives in Florida, but cut his racing teeth up in this neck of the woods, and he's right in there challenging. He wants the lead from Kedrowski, and he's got it for the moment for the first time. Oh, and Kedrowski is on the ground. Mike Kedrowski crashes after Swink went by. Let's see if there was contact here.
No contact. What happened was he just pushed Kedrowski to that outside berm, and of all people, LaRocco comes in and knocks down Kedrowski.
I think you'd have to concede. I think even Mike Kedrowski would have to concede that LaRocco had no place to go once Kedrowski came wobbling across there in front of him. Through all of that, Jeff Stanton comes up to inherit second place. A wild and woolly start for the second moto. And let's finish that story that we began to tell just before the drop of the gate. The officials have fined Mike LaRocco, number 7, $400 for an overly aggressive pass on Mike Kedrowski in the first moto. They have fined Mike Kedrowski $1,000 for launching his motorcycle at LaRocco in retaliation after the checkered flag, and they've placed Kedrowski on probation because that was viewed as, I guess, rather more unsportsmanlike than the move that LaRocco made, which was at least under racing conditions. And so now LaRocco and Stanton, the next-door neighbors in motocross terms, go racing for second spot, and LaRocco takes it away. LaRocco's actually from Indiana, but he's from just across the border here from Red Bud Track and Trail. Art said it was 9 miles away. Stanton is from Sherwood, a few miles in the other direction, and the two of them are having a battle that right now belongs to LaRocco. We'll be back with more after this. Local boys make good as Malcolm Smith Racing presents the Red Bud Track and Trail National. Michigan boy Brian Swink leads the way. Indiana's Mike LaRocco comes up and moves by with a great pass. And hot on their heels is Jeff Stanton with the best national ride we've seen from him this season. I'll tell you what, LaRocco looks like a man on a mission. He's after it.
Well, he's got an opportunity. He knows. The last time he saw Kedrowski was picking his bike up, and as you know, in the first couple of laps, if that happens, you get swallowed up by the whole pack. So here's a great opportunity to put some more points on his teammate.
LaRocco had an 11-point lead coming into the race. It grew to 14 with the outcome of the first moto. Here is Stanton mounting a challenge on Brian Swink, and he'll take over second spot. Jeff Stanton around the youngster Swink. Honda versus Suzuki, the battle. Stanton's best national ride of the year moves him to second spot. Looking good.
It sure is. You know, he talked about any place being your home track if you feel good. Well, perhaps this is the day. It's in front of his hometown crowd, and nice to see if he could get up there and pressure LaRocco, possibly pick up a first moto win.
Crashes and injuries have been Stanton's downfall in this season that he hoped would mark a major comeback. 6 times he has won Supercross or MA national championships, but in 1994 he has struggled. Well, he's got the experience to go up and challenge LaRocco. Let's see if he has the speed. Here's the race for 4th, and into that spot goes number 1 Mike Kedrowski. He is the man on the move. You saw him dispatch Michael Craig with comparative ease. Kedrowski needs to catch LaRocco to keep himself in contention for this national championship. He certainly can't afford to surrender any more points to LaRocco as we reach the halfway point in the title chase. And Kedrowski, after that bobble, very much of his own making, I think, this time, that dropped him on the ground, is struggling in 4th spot.
Sure. Well, he still wants to settle this first moto thing, and yeah, I bet you he's riding with a lot of anger right now. He's going to slice through these guys no problem.
I wonder if he knows that it was LaRocco who hit him. I'm not sure he did. He was facing the wrong direction to see who it was.
I didn't see him look over. I don't think he did know. If he did, boy, I don't even want to think about what he would do if he knew that.
Well, in this second case, it was clearly not LaRocco's fault. In the first case, the officials have judged that it was. At least the on-track contact was LaRocco's fault. They fined him $400 for the first moto bump. This time they've collided again, but it was because Kedrowski ran up over the berm and ran right in front of LaRocco and got all out of shape. Now the battle is for third, and it is number 10, Brian Swink, feeling the pressure from Mike Kedrowski, the Michigander who now lives in Florida, attacked by the Californian around the outside. Kedrowski cannot complete the pass, but will he make it here? Yes, he does. I'll tell you what, I haven't seen anybody make as many outside passes this year as Mike Kedrowski. That was a good one. He's into third. We'll be right back. The AMA National Motocross Championship. This is your race for fourth. Brian Swink is under attack from number 19, Michael Craig, who certainly did not get the start that he had in the first moto, but is doing a nice job of making up for it. He picks up a position. Well, no. Swink's not going to surrender that one easily. That's a pretty good position fight between the Suzuki and the Yamaha. Craig's riding well today.
He sure is. You know, he hung on to third the first moto. No one's been able to do anything with the two Kawasaki riders, but at least he was the closest, and he's having a really good battle. I think he'll probably... Well, it's hard to say. You know, Swink's very aggressive. It's just going to depend on how long Mike can stay in this battle.
Swink's been inconsistent throughout his career. He's shown tremendous speed, but has never been able to put it together, complete motos and consistent finishes. He's been up and down the ladder, but certainly has the raw talent, and right now he's doing a great job of holding number 19, Michael Craig, at bay. I suspect that as Swink matures, you'll see the consistency come with that. The speed's the hard part. You can learn consistency, but you can't learn speed. Here's problems from McGrath, second time in the moto. He's been on the ground. He's shaking his head in this Michigan heat, saying, man, I'm not having any fun. Put a roof on this place, air condition it, and I'll kick their butts.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's a bummer when you crash and you have all that ground to make up, and you got to pass 39 guys to even have a look at the lead, and you can see the frustration there from Team Honda. There's really not much you can do today other than just finish out the moto and go home.
Dave Arnold on the left. Wyatt Seals on the right has more to smile about. His man, number 5, Jeff Stanton, is in pretty good shape here, running second, but now under pressure from Kedrowski, and Kedrowski is definitely on the charge. Stanton's got to know this is coming. He saw that whole altercation occur earlier with Kedrowski and LaRocco, so he knew Kedrowski was back there. He knows the kind of speed Kedrowski has, and now he's close enough they can hear him.
Well, yeah, here comes Kedrowski up the inside, and you know, he just caught Stanton too quickly for Stanton to be a factor in this battle, and third isn't bad, you know, but I'm sure he'd like to try to figure out a way to get back, back past Kedrowski and not let him get away.
He's going to work on that task right now. It is the battle for second and third. The Team Kawasaki's run 1-2. Let's go to Art Ekman.
Wyatt, another show of consistency by Jeff. Hopefully he can hold on to the number 3 spot now.
Yeah, we should be able to. I mean, a good start, and he really came out charging now. He's settled into a good pace, so we just got to keep him going.
That's a new team for 94. Wyatt Seals joining Jeff Stanton during the offseason. Here's Kedrowski running second. Can he catch Mike LaRocco at this point? That's going to be tough to do. LaRocco sees a great opportunity here.
Yeah, you know what, though? Motivation and being a little bit ticked off, I think, from the first moto is going to probably close that gap.
Oh, and speaking of gaps, there's not much of one here. Jimmy Button, number 34, bounces off the tree, splits the difference between the tree and number 19, Michael Craig, and ends up with 4th spot. Button's got a good ride going here on the 250. He's come from well back to run down the 5th place man, Craig. We also get a glimpse of Jeff Matasevich riding in the 6th spot. We've alluded before to the fact that Jimmy Button, stuck on the 125 Suzuki in Supercross, is really too big for that bike, but he fits his 250 pretty well.
No, he sure does. I think it would help a lot if he was riding the 250 indoors also, because he's always having to make this adjustment when he comes to the outdoors, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job of it today.
He's having a good run. He was a serious challenger for the Eastern Region 125 Supercross Championship. Came up a little short to his teammate. Now, however, he is a solid top 5 contender in the Outdoor Nationals, and Matasevich has also worked his way around Craig, and unfortunately, Michael Craig is going backwards. A quick look at the top 5. We'll be back to complete Moto number 2 in a moment. We're back at Red Bud Track and Trail, where one of the all-time greats of American motocross, 3-time Supercross champ, 3-time Outdoor National champ, Jeff Stanton, has chosen his home track to announce his retirement.
Well, I guess there's a bunch of things. You know, I used to be able to go out and just practice all day long. I guess that spark's gone. You know, it takes more for me to go out and ride, and you know, I have to have somebody go out and motivate me and you know, keep my butt moving. So I guess when I figured that it took somebody to get me motivated as far as practicing and riding and stuff, that I guess it was time to do something different.
I tell you, everybody in the game wishes Jeff Stanton well in retirement, and everybody here is wondering what's going to happen now as Mike LaRocco is reeled in by Mike Kedrowski. Oh, and LaRocco falls down. LaRocco just washed out the front end. Kedrowski went by, resisted the opportunity to run over him on the way by. How'd this happen?
Well, just pressure, I think, and I don't know. I think he was a little bit too hard on the front brake as he got into that corner. He didn't have his foot out for stability, and it just washed out from him.
Big break for Kedrowski, who looked like he was going to lose points on the day, net points on the day, to LaRocco, but now has the opportunity to at least break even. Again, as we talked about at the top of the show, if they keep shooting free throws, keep swapping moto victories, it works to LaRocco's favor because he maintains that 11-point lead. But for Kedrowski, there's got to be a tremendous amount of satisfaction involved here.
Oh, you bet. He's probably, there's no better way to settle an argument than to just go out and beat the guy, you know. And you know what I've noticed, and I mentioned it in the first moto, is that you know, even if they keep going back and forth like this, I think the guy that wants it the most is Kedrowski, and he seems to have more speed than LaRocco does at this point in the series right now.
He's really been inspired in the last couple of races, and he talked about the physical demands of this game. He says, hey, this thing beats you up.
Yeah, sometimes after the race I'm sore, you know. I know when I put in a good day and it's been a hard day that, you know, I'm a little sore and stuff. I mean, if you're not sore and you're walking out here smiling, I mean, hopefully you won, or you didn't and you didn't even try. So, you know, I try to do 100% all the time, and, you know, I am sore on race day. That's the day of my work.
Now the hard work is paying off today for the reigning champion in AMA Outdoor National 250 Motocross. Mike Kedrowski is back on top of the heap here. And it was a gimme as LaRocco just tipped over in front of him, and LaRocco's going to be kicking himself when this day is done. He had the opportunity to gain 6 points, and he let it get away.
Yeah, he sure did. You know, it's possibly a gimme, and also the fact that Kedrowski closed in on him pretty quick. And, you know, he was on the ground in the first moto and in this moto, and it still looks like he's going to pick up the overall win. Really impressed with the aggressive riding and the ability to you know, perform in the clutch.
LaRocco, meanwhile, I'm convinced, is determined that he's going to run Mike Kedrowski down, because that's just the way Mike LaRocco's mind works. It's going to be tough for him to do. The laps are winding down. Just a little bit more than one tour of the circuit remain, and I don't think that's going to be enough time for Mike LaRocco unless something really bad happens to Mike Kedrowski. Of course, it has been an unpredictable day thus far, and LaRocco has contributed his fair share to that unpredictability. So with the home crowds cheering him on, LaRocco is in hot pursuit, but Kedrowski is the man in command of Moto number 2, and he's riding flawlessly now. I don't think he's going to make another mistake.
No, he's just riding smoother than LaRocco. You know, he's picking all of the best lines. His momentum is really good, and he's just carrying a lot more speed everywhere. And I think that's why he's able to make up so much time and force LaRocco into a mistake.
Team Green dominating once again here in Buchanan, but this time with a whole lot of fireworks. If you just joined us, hey, you missed all the drama. Mike LaRocco knocks Mike Kedrowski off in the first moto, picks up a $400 fine. Mike Kedrowski retaliates after the checkered flag, picks up a $1,000 fine. They come back and run 1-2 in the second moto and continue to be the guys to beat for the championship. Waving to the crowd, Mike Kedrowski takes the checkered flag, and the Red Bud Track and Trail National comes down to a split. We'll see the interval back to the second place finisher, a lapper in between them, as Mike LaRocco takes the checkered flag and figures, well, all things considered, I guess I'm happy to get out of here in one piece. The second moto results, Kedrowski, LaRocco, Stanton, Matasevich, and Button. We'll take a look at the rest of the top 10 and then head down trackside, where Art Ekman is standing by with the second moto runner-up, LaRocco.
Mike, the report we got from your team manager, Roy Turner, was that you have some pretty sore ribs. Did this affect your performance out there today?
Yeah, it kind of made me a little weak, you know, getting back on the bike, and actually that caused me to have a little front end problems. I kept washing out on me.
Was that the reason why you had to go down a couple of times there?
I think it was that, and I think I had a little bit of problem with front end, and you know, it cost me a lot of mistakes, but I had the race, I just didn't hang on.
Well, you still have a good advantage in a point situation, but now we have to go back to the first moto since we didn't have time to talk to you. What was your impression of what happened?
I can't really talk about it.
Have you made up with him?
Yeah, I mean, we're on a team. We'll work things out. Things have been fine.
Yeah, they're best of friends again now, right?
No, I doubt it.
Kudrowski gets the overall based on the second moto win from Morocco. Stanton third, Matasevich fourth, Craig fifth, Lewis, Button, Ward, Dowd, and DeHoop round out the top 10.
Just when it looked like you were going to come down to another confrontation with your teammate, Divine Justice took over or something like that, because he went down, and all you had to do is hold your steady line.
Yeah, you know, when I was behind him, I knew, you know, I'm going to pass him clean, I'm going to pass him right, and we talked about it between motos, and we both agreed, hey, it's going to be a long year between us, and we don't want to start right now. So, you know, I wasn't planning on where am I going to get him, you know, or hit him or something like that, and I was going to pass him smooth somewhere. And he was riding fast, you know. He made a mistake, and I closed up, and then he made another one and fell, and it's the only way I got by him.
It was a interesting race from your point of view in that you were delayed a few times, too, and yet LaRocca was delayed to give you a chance to get back into it.
Yeah, you know, it's just he delayed 2 times, and I delayed once. So that's the difference between winning.
Mike, this particular victory in the second moto really puts you in good stead and just puts you right where you want to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, I didn't lose nothing again today, and this is LaRocca's home track, probably his best home track. I can remember last year him going really fast here and pushing me real hard, and the other ones I did a little bit better. So, you know, it's definitely going to be a long season, and to beat him here is a real accomplishment.
Well, the bottom line is the point gap remains the same. LaRocco still leads by 11. The controversy between the Kawasaki team.
Racing while he's still healthy. He's won 3 250 national titles, 3 Supercross titles, equal to Bob Hanna, only a 125 title shy of that, and a fantastic achievement. I'm really impressed, and I hope that he does